Now we've moved to the second part of our event, the more exciting part. Our speaker here. Our first speaker is the CEO and founder of Sales Communication. Over the past 15 years, he has helped customers to grow by his experience and expertise in inbound marketing and sales. His company was regarded as HubSpot Partner of the Year in 2017 and 2016 in EMEA region. And his customer was also the happiest customer in EMEA region 2017. Today, he will bring with us the story and the future of inbound marketing. Please welcome Jani Aaltonen.
Thanks very much. I'm really honored to be here today in this stage. This is my second time in the Marketing Meetup. Last time was last spring, and I hope I did really well because I got invited in the second time. And what I would love to do today is talk about a little bit of where the marketing is actually going. Sorry, change of mic. Yes, where the marketing, from my perspective, is going. For the company that I own, which is Sales Communications, where we see that actually the marketing is going. And to be honest, I'm not a marketer. I am not a technologist or digitalist in any sense. I'm a sales guy. And what we do actually is that we try to leverage the tool of the internet in order to get some attention to ourselves and to our customers. So that's, I think, that it's the most part to understand that the tool of internet is really useful these days. What we actually do is over 10 hours per day we use this device. This is the first device that we pick up when we woke up, and this is the last device which we use before we go to bed. And this is actually the device that, if we go to the under age of 35, is the most used device in the bathroom. So what we have to understand is that when we are looking for the attention is shifting where it used to be, or the channels that is grabbing the attention is shifting away. You know, these companies in Finland, they are owned, or the majority of the management is males over 45. And males over 45 doesn't understand a lot of things what is happening in the real world. Because when they grew up, when they went to school, like 20 years ago, this thing didn't exist. They didn't have the luxury of spend most of their time in the social networks. So they don't get that. But what we can see now in our customers, and if you look at all the inbound marketeers and the companies and the Google Analytics companies, the social media companies, everybody is growing. And the reason is this. These guys, they start to understand that the budgets that they are doing are actually need to be shifted to the human behavior. And because a lot of the old school methods, and the old school methods that I talk about in B2B environment, that's where we are really good at, is cold calling, doing some events, sending a lot of email blasts. Everybody starts to understand that this doesn't work. And when we look at the actually where the people's attention in this country, Finland, is, the biggest attention grabber is Google. Google.fi, Google.com, and YouTube. And second biggest thing is Facebook. So if we want to get anybody's attention, those are the places that we need to be going. So I think that that's the big shift that we see. The budgets are going. The budget, the money, and the resources are going to those two channels because people spend most time on it. But there's one problem. We can actually succeed when we understand that everybody is not our customer. And if everybody is not that our customers, we should be stopping bombarding people with the messages on the places where we don't actually want to consume any messages. And that's why I think Facebook did what they did 2 weeks ago. They said no to companies. They say no to spamming. And that's what the GDPR is going to do in the next May. We are actually going to a world where the lawmakers are saying to the marketers, stop harassing people and let them, go in peace in the places that they want to do. And it's a funny thing. Who has a Spotify account? Who has an Apple Music account? Not so many. Okay. Who watches TV when the TV company wants to present something at that time? No hands. There was one hand. Okay. Another question. Who does answer to the phone when somebody tries to reach you? About 30%, I would say. So the channels are not there anymore. If I do a calculation now on my mobile phone, and this is a real number, so I'm an old guy, I have to look like this. There's 166,159 unread emails, which that means the email is not the tool that it used to be. So what can we do about it? We are not in the channels that we used to be, and the shift in human behavior has gone to consuming content in their private networks, mainly on a mobile phone. And by the way, if you're 35 and up, you're gone. If you're 35, less than 35, you still have the future to go on, because what we see in the mobile phone usage is that there's a turning point. People over 35, 45, they use mostly their desktop, and people who are under 35, 40 are using mostly mobile phone. So the question is, how much money on average company is spending on that channel? Not much at this stage. What we can see is that if we go to the B2B environment, and our company does C-level executives only, we are able to generate leads 8.3 euros per lead through the channel of Facebook. And if we take the same amount of money we put on Google, it's double the money or triple the money. So it's fairly cheap at this point. And I think that one prediction is that the prices of the advertising will go up. And if we take average media, for example, Alma Media or something like that, MTV3, we need to put 100 euros in to get attention of 1,000 people. And my prediction is this: the value of traditional media is going down, and the value of this new medium is going up. And as a marketeers, the only way to get the attention of our customers is try to help them and do some useful thing for the customer. There's a lot of competition in a lot of areas in the business world. And when the competition hits the roof, the prices are going down. And that's the known fact. So the only thing to get the attention is to start to serve people in those channels that they are actually spending time. And I think that that's big trend, which is what is happening. And one thing we also need to understand is the ecosystem and the automation platforms. We are looking at a lot of different line of businesses, and we see that there are a lot of businesses that over 80% of all the companies are using money on marketing automation. So that platform needs to be there. The ecosystem needs to be there. And one big shift that we see that there's a break in the walls of sales, marketing, and customer support. And one thing which is happening is that it's going to be a unified process, so that there's going to be one growth leader who runs the operations. And down there used to be the sales, used to be the marketers, used to be the customer support, because the ecosystem, the software that we're actually using is putting everybody on the same line. So that's kind of one trend that we'll see. One huge possibility and opportunity is to start producing content and deliver content on the places where people are, the way they want to consume it, whenever they want to consume it. And that's why we're entering the area of bots. And the bots are the one big thing that actually starts to help the customer service 24/7, 365. For example, our biggest time when customers are booking meetings from our sales, and we do B2B, by the way, if your customer can have a doctor's appointment or a barber through internet, they can book you. So our customers book our sales Sunday evening, from I would say 7 to 9 o'clock. On that period, the most meetings are booked in our sales calendars. We started our company 6 years ago, and we haven't been doing any single cold calling. There's no cold calling campaigns going on, no outbound marketing, and we've been able to grow over 25% every year. You can check that on the internet if you want, the growth numbers. Everybody is growing who are investing actually content to get the attention, grab them into your internet sphere that you actually own. You can own your website, the campaign sites and all that, and convert them into the leads. Put them straight to the sales and start the normal sales process. So that funnel is kind of working. One big trend which is happening now, that like us, a lot of companies are full of leads. So leads are not the problem. And the quality of leads are not the problem either. Because it goes so that if you target your message to the right people, you will get those right people. So the next big issue is sales enablement. And sales enablement is the function after the conversion. So a lot of content production, a lot of automation, a lot of bots, a lot of AI stuff is going to serve the customer and make the us and them together more, what is called suhde paranee, you know, relationships and so on. So that's what we see is a huge thing. Sales enablement, Google it's cool. And it tastes great. So something like that. One big issue that I've learned in the course of marketing of 15 years of being an entrepreneur is that marketing is not for companies who do not want to grow. You don't need marketing if you don't want to grow. The only companies that actually need marketing is the companies who want to grow. 49% of the Finnish companies said no to growth. And that's the study of EK.fi last July. And I find this really, really amusing. But there's a lot of things that the companies are investing. They want to keep where they are and they want to have a profitability and all that. But the marketing is for the companies who want to grow. So that's why we also focusing on the growth and the growth segment. So it's really good when you are talking to your boss and you're meeting people is to talk about how much do you want to grow and what time that growth needs to be possible. Because the investment that we are doing in the marketing ecosystem is investments where you actually can calculate ROI. And it goes so that if you need 10 customers, we need to understand what is the conversion rate from lead to customers. And then we can invest all the content productions to those channels to get those leads. And that's why the sales enablement is so crucial, because this is a unified process. It's not sales, marketing or customer support. It's a one process. That what we can do actually is contact the leads immediately, because the time is crucial. We all know that the searches that we do in Google are going up, and at the same time the time spent on those channels are going down, which means we need to be faster. And the fastest runner wins, because what we can have is we can have the luxury of being on the people's mind when they have that window open. They go into the Google, they ask the questions, and question is, are you there serving? Are you there answering those questions? If you do, you're really, really lucky. If you're not, by the way, most companies are not. They are spending advertisement. They are spending a lot of money on advertisement. And they think that buying ads, telling that I am here, buy me, is do any good for the consumer or the customer. Because the customer came down to Google and asked a question, how do I do my life better on this and this matter? So, this is something to remember. You don't have the questions, customers has the questions. All you can have is the answers. And you can choose whether you have a quality answers, very good answers, or lousy, crappy ones. You choose. And when you make that choice, the next question is, can we put time, money, and all the resources to support our strategy and support that goal? And mostly companies do not. What we see in the dashboards now, that some keywords in Google raises up, the price is going up. Could be over 15 euros or 25 euros per click. And then when we are looking at the difficulty score, it's really low, which means people are buying more advertising that they want to help the customers in their own journey. They have 3 minutes. Okay, thanks. Any questions, by the way? I could talk like the whole night, but you know, the most value is your questions, not my talk. The one issue I would love to point out before I stop. You can't do really good content marketing or internet marketing without investing any resources. I think that most CMOs or older guys over 45 thinks, because they live in the Napster era, that everything that comes through internet is free and easy to produce. And it's actually totally opposite. Everything that comes from the internet is a man-produced and takes a lot of time and effort to put in place. And without great analytics tools, you don't stand a chance to hitting the right target, because there is no single person in the whole wide world who can say which is a valuable or remarkable thing to your customers. They can say it if they are your customers. That's why I don't believe in the marketing consulting world, because I believe in the testing and data world, because what we can do, we can test everything. And then we can do some adjustments and changes to our marketing real time in seconds and minutes when we actually have the possibility. And one final thought, in order to get anything out of this tool of internet in sales, bear in mind that you need to be always helping. Because it's really hard, it's really easy to say no to a person who is pushy, who wants to do outbound kind of technology things and techie things and tell them something about themselves. And it's really hard to say no to a sales guy, but it's really, really hard to say a person who really actually wants to help and produces value. And I think that the value production part is the part that we are most lacking in our organizations, because we think that our industry is super, super cool and totally different than everybody else. And we think that the company we come, because we have put a lot of money on branding, bragging and branding, we think that that's somehow valuable, but it's not, because what we see by the numbers, if you raise your visit rates up, but you don't have any conversions, the brand doesn't do any shit to you. That was it. Thanks very much. If there's any questions, send me an email, DM me, direct message, any social channels. I will be happy to answer. Do you have a question?
Yeah, Jani, I have just one question about the channels. You have been talking a lot about Facebook as a channel, but I think recently there's a pretty big trend of this chat channels like Telegram evolving, and also that companies start to have these channels as the places to have all this valuable content. What do you think about it?
I think that the conversations in total, if you talk about conversations, I think that that's huge. What we see is that the normal content marketing conversion total is 2 to 4%. When we're putting a conversation platform there, for example a chatbot, that raises to 6 to 8%. So people would love to have a conversation. Over 1 billion messages are sent through the Facebook channel, the Facebook messages, to companies by consumers every single month. And I think that the conversation is huge, but the conversations is not something that we and the customers would love to do 8 to 4, that we have a person there who is answering the calls, because that doesn't scale up. What we need on those simple tasks on a customer's calls, we can automate that. So what we can do is that we can have more conversation on the times that people actually want to consume. It's a funny thing. Saturday morning, 7 o'clock is the most visited time in our web page. And why is that? That's the time when people actually have time and spend time to actually do some research, because the Monday to Friday is too big hassle. So, and the conversation bots is actually grabbing that attention and taking that to the automation system and offers them time or the calendar link. I think that that's something to think about also. So, any other questions? Are we running out of time?
No, you're not running actually out of time. It's time for questions, so please.
Does anybody have a really hard questions? I love those. Like super hard, like, Jani, why are you saying this? And back in the 65 we used to do this.
I'm not sure if this is like a hard question, but how do you predict the questions that your customers have?
Oh, that's a very good one.
What platforms do you use? How do we prepare an answer without knowing actually what question?
Yeah. How do we know what the customer? How do we know what the customers are asking? That was the question. It's a funny thing, listening. And I find this really, really amusing. If we look, average sales guys, we go to a customer and meet the sales guy, and I'm super pumped and super excited and ask, what is the question that your customer asked for you? They're like, I don't know. The majority of sales guys doesn't know what the customers are asking. Try this. Send me a message if I'm wrong or right. Try this. If you take 10 sales guys, they don't know. You have to listen. And then write down. That's a very good thing. Manual process works here. And one very good tool is to go to your sales outbox. Email, there's inbox, there's outbox. Nobody goes to outbox. Go to outbox. Because then you see, take 500 emails. And then you can see that there's a top 10 or top 20 questions that these guys are manually answering all the time. So take those questions and put them on the answers to the website. That's how you start to scale the sales guys' work. And of course, you can use a lot of technology to understand. And if you write a word to Google, you can see that Google starts to categorize it. So then you know that these categories that Google is actually suggesting you are the ones that are most asked about. So I would go for that. But the sales guys and the customer support, if you have a ticketing system, that's a very usable tool also. That's why I'm talking about the sales, marketing, and the customer support needs to be a unified process, so that actually the customer support is giving the information to sales and marketing. What are the questions that actually gets asked? And those are the ones you need to start to be writing stuff, doing some videos and content, because then you're actually producing quality content. They ask, you answer. It's a very good strategy. Anything else?
Maybe some questions from our guests of honor or comments about the topic. You're experts as well.
I'm sorry, I'm looking there and you guys are here. So.
Anyone?
Well, just one comment from my side. I'm speaking to CMO of a company.
Yeah.
I see a lot of your struggles also when I talk to the board or to the CEO, because of course it's difficult sell to me, to them, and tell them, okay, now we're going to invest in content marketing, for example. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of resources, and you see the results maybe 1 year after. So I was wondering if you have a comment on this, like short-term versus long-term, and how you do approach this with your customers.
And we're talking with the males over 45. Normally we do. Males over 45. This is a
not necessarily.
Not necessary. It could be females over 45 too. But the age is crucial here, because the knowledge of understanding of technology. I would reverse engineer it. I would go back to the sales process and see that, okay, these are the deals that we actually made, or this is our target. And I would go back and see how many offers did we make, how many opportunities we got, and where did they all came. If we are not investing in the tool of internet, that's an opportunity that we can keep everything else the same and start to work backwards, so that if we need, and use Excel, it's a very good tool in a sense, because showing by the numbers, you know your customer lifetime value, you know your numbers that you have to go, you actually know how good your sales is converting leads to customers. So all you need to do is saying basically that, okay, Mr. CEO or Mrs. CEO, the thing here is this: you need 3 leads, you need 3 opportunities, or you need 500 opportunities. What is the numbers? We can produce these out of Google and in social media and through our web channel. And if we are able to do that, the sales can take these, and out of 100, they are able to, you know, sell to 30 clients, which means the customer lifetime value. And I would encourage you to talk about customer lifetime value and not like an average cost of a deal or whatever, because that's a no number that you can actually rely on anything, because the customer can come with the small amount of money, and over time the customer relationship is growing, and you turn out to have more money out of that, and then the ROI calculation is more accurate when you do it with the customer lifetime value. So I would talk about numbers, and not about content marketing, not about, you know, the great tools. I would go and show that, you know, it's a funny thing that our competitor is getting all the attention from Facebook and Google, and we are not there, and here are the numbers. If we are able to generate that into business opportunity, this is much money we will actually make. And by the way, now that the economy is going up, everybody is a happy fellow in marketing, but when the downturn comes, and that's at some point, eventually, any case, a lot of marketers are left out of job. And those marketers are the ones who can't say that this is the ROI of our marketing. This is the marketing ecosystem, a growth platform we're actually doing. So I would use Excel on that. Thanks very much. Any questions still? I'm off. One. What? Okay. 1 minute left. Is there questions? Yes.
Thank you very much. Well, I want to ask you about the GDPR, and in marketing you want to make mass, or at least use data. How would you now, everybody's now updating their rules and policies. You still want to talk to mass and grow. How would you then balance that? And what would you advise a startup or a growth company to do? Thank you.
The GDPR.
Yeah. Well, no need to as much.
Yeah. But the thing, I love GDPR as a marketeer. It's supposed to end up spamming. And as an inbound marketer, we don't have any problem with the GDPR, because there is no single person in our database who didn't came by themselves. And with the GDPR, I think that all the marketers need to start to think. So what to do if you have a database which is kind of old and you don't know who the people came, and what I would do is that I would take the most active ones that are most active, that I know they're opening the emails, they are visiting to our websites, they are converting into the leads, and they have a high commitment to our company, and they are current customers. I would leave those, and I would delete the rest of it. It's a funny thing actually what happens when you are making a choice that these are the customers we're actually serving, and the most engaged ones. You start to see that the conversion rates are going up. Everything is going up, the numbers are starting to looking good, because you're actually communicating with the people who are actually wanting to have your messages and so on. We started with the 30,000 email addresses, came from 15 years, a lot of time. Sales has been putting, I used to be a huge outbound sales dude doing cold calls and all that, when I was 30 something and so on. So we have a big database. So what we did is we deleted 20,000 email addresses who wasn't showing any activity 1.5 years ago. And everybody was like creepy, what's gonna happen to our rates? And is this killing our company? And can we, it's a valuable asset. We did that, 20,000 away. what we see, our rates are going up, and you know, actually suddenly we were able to see 60% email open rates, and you know, huge advantage on that. And then what we did, because what we use is an algorithm, kind of a smart tool where we see that who is the most committed to our company, who is actually using the tool of internet as the way that our customers used to do before they came to our customers. And we deleted 8,000 away. So out of 30,000, we deleted 28,000 emails away, and the business is booming. 60% of all the companies and the customers are coming through the channel of internet, and our growth rate is 26% Q4 2007. So what I would do, I would press delete on those customers. Okay, am I done? Thanks very much. Nice to be here, and send me a questions, a DM on social if you want to chat. Thanks very much.